Yes, yes, yes. I know that's the main time in the Paddock F1. Greeny and the cheese. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Please hit that subscribe and like button if you haven't done it yet. Helps out here at the channel. And also, if you are tuning in and you're not a subscriber, where the hell aren't you? So hit that damn button. Give us the thumbs up.
Everything
Help us out.
Everything helps.
Break news. This is in the news special since we're still on our April spring break. The big news coming out from the FIA with some 2026 updated regulation changes to try and fix the shit show mess we got. We are caffeinated. We are medicated. Greeny, good day, sir.
Good day to you. Happy Sunday, and better to be here than the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night, but won't get into that later. But it has been a roller coaster of a spring break. I don't even know what to say anymore. All I know is I've listened to as much as humanly possible about the new regulations. I've read everything. I've heard everything. And my dinosaur brain cannot compute. I guess I need an engineering degree to be able to compute anything of what the hell's going on. So I don't know, Cheese, if you can help me out here, if you can help those listening, if you do know what is going on, and if you can explain it to me in plain English, then, comment down below. That would be great. Or you can email the show, as always, in the Paddock USA at gmail.com. In the Paddock USA at gmail.com. Jeez. Let's break this down on a little more specifics.
All right, well, I got the FIA
Lord
announcement up on my screen here. So we'll just start off with the first one. For the qualifying promoting performance. Let's go.
This is for quali.
This is for quali
only.
Not the race, but this is just for quali. So here we go.
All right, go.
Adjustments to energy management parameters, including a reduction in maximum permitted recharge from 8 megajoules to 7 megajoules, aimed at reducing excessive harvesting and encouraging more consistent flat-out driving. This change targets a maximum superclip duration reduced to approximately 2 to 4 seconds per lap. Wow, that's a lot in there. But what I kind of understand out of it is that this is going to supposedly, with the flat-out driving line there, is that a lot of the drivers have been lifting and coasting to recharge the battery. So I guess this is supposed to reduce the lifting and coasting and having the drivers be more flat out, because there's not going to be any gain in recharging the battery by lifting and coasting. I mean, I don't think it's that great. It doesn't sound great if you're still going to have 2 to 4 seconds per lap of, the superclip garbage, which is taking power away from the engine, its output, to put power back into the battery. That's the first one. We'll go to the next one.
All right. I mean, listen, where's Motor Mouth John Machida when you need him? If you don't know the Micro Machines guy, if you remember from back in the day, need him reading these.
So the second one is peak superclip power increase to 350 kilowatts, previously being 250 kilowatts, further reducing the time spent recharging, and reduce driver workload on energy management. This is also to be applied in race conditions as well. So I guess that's also to promote you to be more full throttle, because if you're super clipping, you're going to charge the battery more. But then again, the batteries don't like to be recharged anyway, and they don't like to be fully recharged. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Listen, all I know is what Toto Wolff said, or at least tweeted out the other day, if we're still calling him that, which is we're taking a baseball bat to something that needed a scalpel. Right? If you follow what I'm saying. I don't know if it was the exact quote, but it was somewhere along those lines. We need to take a look at this and really dissect exactly what's going on from an engineering standpoint, at least from his mouth. And they're just like, no, we just need to smash this whole thing and start over again. After 3 races, which is batshit crazy to begin with. And this is all about, listen, are we putting Band-Aids on things here? Are we making fixes on something here? Or are we just compromising? And is this a compromise to get through the season? And it looks as if the way it is, and if you look at the Vegas lines, which we'll get to in a few minutes here, but after this, Mercedes has jumped up tremendously as far as Kimi and George's winning versus Charles, who's now 3rd for the season. I believe the Mercedes drivers are plus 100 or plus 110 to win the Drivers' Championship from Vegas, and 2nd is Charles Leclerc at plus 1,600. So it is a just leaps and bounds that Mercedes, after these new reg announcements, are just going to run away with the season the way it is, or at least from the gambling in Vegas perspective. But is this just like going to be Mercedes just running away now with these new regs? Is this just completely catered to them? Is this a compromise to help them out?
To be honest, Ferrari had their, what do you want to call it, promotional 200 kilometers test that they're allowed. They did it at Monza. They brought up massive amount of upgrades. Apparently from, what Fred Vasseur said, the car is way quicker with the upgrades they did with the floor, new front wing. The Mach rate of wing apparently is giving them 10 kilometers an hour faster down the straights. I mean, we'll see. But Ferrari's actually the only team, because of that test, that was able to be on track with these new announced regulation changes. So they could have a little leg up on everybody else in regards to that. Does it still look like a Merc runaway? Probably at this point, for sure. I mean, we'll see what happens in Miami. But I mean, these regulation changes, if we're taking power away to recharge the battery, which is kind of what super clipping is, because you can hear it, you can hear the engine, you can hear the car getting slower. That's why they don't like showing it, during the broadcast. That's why you never saw, or they even blocked out the quali part of, Kimi Antonelli's quali lap at Suzuka, so you don't have to hear the car super clipping and slowing itself down through 130R, which is an absolute joke. But if we're taking the power away to keep charging the battery to try and get power, and we're slowing the car down, basically, because we're taking away horsepower, because it's a 50-50 split, might F1 end up being slower than F2? You think about that? How much of an embarrassment that would be?
Seems like we're on the precipice of it. It seems like that this compromise, this great compromise, is going to slow the cars down.
It's not a compromise. It's an absolute, we're hitting the panic button. The big red button is being hit. And it's not even being hit once. We are hitting that button panic mode, because ratings are down 50% in Europe. Their home base. Nobody's watching that. If you go through a bunch of comments on a bunch of things out in Formula One, people are watching sports car racing, or like the Le Mans series, like that kind of stuff, the GT3 series, instead of watching Formula One, because it's become such a joke. We're The cars are going slower. I mean, there was I don't know if it was an AI leak or something after Suzuka, but there was apparently an FIA sanctioned test with Red Bull with a V8 in the back. There was talk about bringing the V8 in a lot earlier than what I'm hearing right now is 2031, probably for the next an engine reg change. But during these big meetings they were talking. The FIA apparently brought this to the table that they wanted to bring V8s in sooner, but teams like Audi, Honda, I think Ford, and even though they don't have they're developing their own power plant, Cadillac were very much against it because of the amount of $1 billion they've invested to develop these disastrous engine decision that the Formula One came up with. Formula One shit the bed completely at the start for this, plain and simple. They should have went back to a V8 with a turbo for this engine regulation. That's what the fans have always wanted since they brought the hybrid thing into this. One, the hybrid makes the cars too gosh darn heavy, so you take away a lot of the nimbleness that a Formula One car had beforehand, and people want to hear that screaming noise. The number one thing Formula One fans miss or they want changed in any type of survey that's brought up is they want the screaming engine back. They want the 18,000 RPM scream, which is what Formula One was known for forever. They want it back. They want the weight reduction back with the battery out of the damn car, which takes away the nimbleness. Formula One screwed up. That's why we're going to panic mode 3 races in to make reg changes or to try and fix something that might even make it worse in the long run or slow the cars down to a point that Formula 2 is faster.
It's
Faster.
It's backwards. We are going backwards, but hopefully for Formula One fans, especially for the European fan base who's listening, we thank you all. Thank you from all around the world. First of all, I got to stop there and mention every single continent in the world checking in again this week. We really appreciate everyone from all around the world, but we want you all to enjoy Formula One as well. And, with that, is this going to be a step backwards to take 2 steps forwards, Cheese? Or is it going to take so long to take these extra steps forward that people are going to lose patience and pray for the glory days of Max Verstappen Red Bull, right? Or,
I don't even know if it's be 2 steps forwards to come back.
To the silver hour runs. Is this where we're going? Because it feels like it could be a while. It feels like there's no quick fix.
They're going to lose a lot of fans. Formula One is going to have to somehow convince the teams that were brought in on this new engine 50-50 split, the hybrid technology thing that's kind of going away in the mainstream at the moment. They're going to have to work their asses off to try and get these teams to be able to go to a V8. Bottom line. Because until you get rid of this 50-50 split, it's I don't think making these changes, I think the changes are going to make the car slower. And it's not going to be appealing. They're going to continue to lose fans. I mean, if they're going to start losing the American fan too. Their brand new, giant, big fan base that's kicked in. But I think this is going to bring them back to a point that they're in. F1's never made any type of regulation change 3 races in. They've never even done it in season before that I can think of, going back through history. That's never happened. They're losing fans all over the place. Ratings are down. They got, Apple taking over here in the States. They're losing, they're going to lose money. And when people start losing money who gave you a crap ton of money, it don't look good on you. And then you're going to have people pull out and then you make less money. And Liberty Media came in and bought Formula One out to make a buttload of cash. And they had it moving in that direction. But now they're going to lose it all because of this massive decision. They're going to have to get the change made earlier to bring a sustainable, V8 engine with a turbo back in to try and recuperate. Long-time fans are leaving because it's an absolute disaster right now.
Listen, we've seen this in sports before. We've seen this. F1 has every opportunity to make a comeback. Every opportunity. But they have some work to do, and they're slipping right now. But it's only been, it really hasn't been that long since they were one of the biggest sporting events in the world just pretty recently. So you have to think of it that way. Listen, it's the Drive to Survive fans that they picked up along the way. There's a lot of them that came in for a specific brand and a specific product, and they're not getting the product that they signed up for just 5-6 years ago, while watching Netflix, while sitting at home during COVID, scrolling through Netflix and finding a show, getting into it, and now it's a different vibe.
Well, that's also where Formula One made a lot of gains too, is during COVID, because they were the only they were the only real sport that got their act together quicker than anybody else was. We're back out there. But this new regulation changes just with the power plant itself alone is just a disaster.
Yeah. Well,
and the panic button is being hit hard, and they're trying to come up with drastic, crazy decisions to try and fix a problem that I don't think can really be fixed. But there's just a design flaw that wasn't thought of.
In the world that lacks critical thinking, this was quite the critical thinking engineering mistake here for F1. Hopefully they can fix it this season.
The driver said this. The driver said this 2 years ago when they were announced. I said this is not going to be good. From just what they were talking about. I said, this is not going to be good. And drivers were saying it. Max Verstappen told them 2 years ago that this is not going to work. It's going to be a mess. He was right.
Yep. Well, let's see if they can find a fix. It's probably not going to be this season. There's going to be any dramatic fixes. We're probably going to work out the season the way it's worked out. Some little battery tweaks here and there. That's really all they can do. But let's see what happens after Miami. Only one way to find out. Listen, we're going to broadcast at least some, if not all, of the race before the show, Sideline FM. So head there, and we'll do a little pre-race or race pre-show there before we hop on the show next week to celebrate really the beginning of the season. It really feels like we're starting the season all over again.
Yeah, it's been a long damn time since we had a race, so kind of does feel that way. Everybody had their month to come up with some new goodies to put on the car.
Say what you got to say, brother.
We'll see you guys next week from Miami. And until then, as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.